Hello, darlings. Welcome to the second webinar on the world of Wow Parenting. The title of this webinar is How Do We Create a Very Beautiful and Solid Bond with Our Children? Now, before I jump into the topic, life at Wow Parenting is super exciting. We get to meet many interesting children. We get to meet many interesting parents. I get to learn so much about how to improve as a parent. When we launch a webinar, when we do research for what should be the content, what would be the right things which will create a beautiful impact in the life of our parents, a mirroring keeps happening about, Naren, are you doing this well enough in your parenting? And trust me, even if I am the person who's speaking over here, conducting the program, I learned so much. An expression of gratitude to all my friends, all the parents who are there on this platform. Thank you so much for this opportunity to improve. As we parent our children, sometimes do we ignore the bonding part? As we are providing more and more to children, as we are busy in providing what is required by the children for them to study well, for them to learn manners, for them to be value based, have we somewhere lost out on bonding with the children? Bond with children is one of the reasons why children listen to us. When we have a strong bond with children, that is one of the reasons why children would love to obey what we say. When we bond with children well, that is one strong reason why children would trust us. They would believe that my father or my mother understands me, and therefore, if I cooperate with them, it must be for my benefit. Yeah, I understand. In today's fast life, when there is so much to be done, where we are always running behind schedule, where the pending list never gets completed, time to bond with children seems like a luxury. So when I speak with parents and I ask them, what do you do to bond with children? The answers are things like, we go to see movies together. Sometimes we go for shopping together, or it is watching TV together. But all these activities, there is a third element, the TV screen, the movie screen, the food. It is not one to one. It is not bonding per se. How about creating a webinar where we can discuss with parents how to bond with children? And that is how we are here together in this program. Now, how we will conduct the session is, every now and then I will become a small part of the screen, and there will be a bigger picture which will come in, which will have certain words. Now we understand human beings learn, one, by visual, by eyesight, and two, we learn through the ears. So my voice will always be guiding you and speaking with you, but now and then my face will go off a little off the screen. It will become smaller, and there will be a big picture which will come onto the board. So every now and then I will look to this side of the screen where I'm wanting to bring in a new slide. Now here it goes. Today, when we look, I want to see confident children. I want to see powerful children. What I see are children scared and children who are intimidated very easily. Go to any playground and watch children, and you'll find some of them deeply scared, sitting alone or behind the mother. They're not able to approach people. They're not able to go to somebody else and say, can we play? And so often you find children absolutely tired. At the other end of the spectrum, we see plenty of recklessness, violence, nastiness, and bossiness. These children appear to be confident. Their body language seems to suggest I've got everything in control and I'm the master of the situation. They are a little dominating over others, believing this is how it should be. That is how they become leaders. Unfortunately, this is not self-confidence. This is not power. Then what is? What is true power? And why is true power so rare? True power is when a child is composed, when the child is driven, when the child takes initiatives. And all this comes from a child who has bonded very well with the parents. There are 3 stages of evolution in the life of a child. First, the first wave of confidence that the child feels comes when the basic needs of the child are met. The child is just born, absolutely alone, crying, helpless. And when its basic needs are met at the right time, then that is the first wave of confidence for a child. The second wave of confidence for the child, that comes from the toddler's power to say no. Somebody expects the child to do something, and at that time, if the child says no, you would have seen the children do that playfully, and they laugh. So many of you would say that the first word that no. Now, that is not what is a negative learning. That is not something where the child, you and me can say, is not positive. That is its way to assert its independence, that I will not do what you want me to do. I have my own identity. 2 minutes, 3 minutes down the line, the child might end up doing what we want them to do. But the fact they could say no gives them a sense of power. What is the third sense of power? The third sense of power, the third wave of confidence that the child gets is when they are able to make their own place in the world. When they start having an identity. When the way they dress, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they behave, the way they sleep, the way they study, the way they play, the way they interact with the world outside starts defining them. This includes the place that they have in the life of other children. Which means this includes the respect that they get from other children, the number of friends that they have, the kind of interactions they have with other children. The third wave of confidence comes to them out of that. All this, to a large extent, begins inside the home. Inside the home, the child gets its basic needs. Their identity starts getting built up. The waves of confidence starts getting built up inside the house. And any person who's instrumental in helping them get these 3 waves of confidence, the child starts bonding with them. As the child bonds, this realization happens. We stay in the same home, but we seem to have radically different ideas about how each other lives. It is about the difference in we living our world, which seems to be the bridge that we need to cover. What do I mean by this? A child can play with a doll for hours together, and an adult never understands what is there in that doll by which they are playing for an hour together. Sometimes 2 children together can just keep on playing doctor. Sometimes the child might just keep running from point A to point B inside the house and giggling and being happy about it. Adults, parents, Why is it and how can they enjoy this so much? It becomes kind of a puzzle to us. And for the children, when they look at the parents, trust me, they're equally puzzled. They are thinking, why parents behave like this? Why do they fight with each other? Why do they stay angry for days, if not weeks? Why is it that every night they watch TV for so much time? Why is it that they don't go out to play? Why is it they don't like friends? And why is it and talk only good about people in their presence? Parents and children realize that they stay inside the same house, but actually they have their own different worlds. Now, as you live in this house, let's say you are a busy person. Let's say you have a lot of things that you need to do. Let's say you have a lot of things to manage. So your feeling, your thinking, your conviction, your belief about your children sometimes can be that they are downright annoying, infuriating, disturbing. They are not cooperating enough. They don't understand you enough. Here we actually start today's webinar. When a child behaves in ways that you don't like, when the child behaves in ways you don't like, when the child is not cooperating as much as you want them to cooperate, when the child is not understanding as much as you want them to be understanding, this is what is the truth. They are desperately signaling that they need connection with you. Every time the connection is broken, there is a gap. Cooperation drops, understanding drops, doing what should be done drops. Living up to each other's expectations is not a priority anymore. Every time in a relationship with children, when they do not behave the way you want them to behave, understand it's a signal by them, I need connection. What we normally do is we focus on the annoying behavior without seeing the pain that they are feeling underneath. See, the child desperately needs connection. They desperately need bonding because that in their mind defines who they are, and that is directly related to their true power. Not the arrogant power, not the I will be safe kind of a power, but true power, raw confidence inside comes from connections. And when they're behaving, which understand the child has lost connection and they're desperately crying for connection. We see their behavior and it upsets us, it angers us. And we want to put them in their place. We want to make them behave properly. We want to be a little strict and firm so that we can teach them a lesson. And it only distances more. So every time there is a misbehavior or lack of cooperation from the child, understand it is a child's desperate need to be connected. Help them work through their emotional blocks, and how can we handle or help them to handle their strong emotions. Let me give you a metaphor over here. Psychologists for many years have been speaking about something called the attachment theory, where they say the greater the attachment, the more the cooperation. And they do research to find out what builds this attachment. Now, in a few minutes, we'll move into 10 steps which will help us to bond with our children. Now, this metaphor means connections between parents and children is like we are the jug and they are the mug. It is like filling and emptying of cups. It is emptied when they feel hungry, tired, lonely, or hurt. And every time the child is loved, fed, comforted, wanted, and nurtured, they feel deeply connected to the parents. How do we feel and how do we create these deeper connections with the child? Now, here are a set of pointers that I believe will help you to create a beautiful, beautiful connection with your child. Aim for 12 hugs or 12 physical touches every day. A lovely psychiatrist called Virginia Slater says when the children are less than 4 years old, they need at least 12 hugs every day for them to feel connected. 4 hugs is only for survival. 8 is excitement and development. The number of hugs might change. Initially, the number of hugs might be like in the age of 0 to 4, 12. As the child moves from 4 to 8, it is not necessarily just hugs. It can be catching the child by the shoulder, ruffling their hair, shaking hands with them, holding them with their waist, doing a little gudgudi to them, being a little playful with them, having an arm wrestling tournament. The more the beautiful quality touch, the better is the relationship. Second, balance the serious business of heartfelt connections with the silliness. Now, what do I mean by wild play? See, for adults, play means leisure. Play means time pass. Play is more like when you have nothing else to do, you will play. For children, playing is like their primary job. It is the most important activity for the day. We adults may not love our work and we may be very tired after our work. We may not be looking forward to our work. But for children, they love their play and they rarely ever get tired by their play. Play has 3 purposes. One, that's the most important work that I do. The second, play fulfills our need for attachment, affection, and closeness. Any person with whom you play, you will feel to dislike a person and play with them. Imagine you want to bond with your children and you regularly play with them. Now, depending on the age of the child, you need to come up with different plays. When the child is, let's say, 8 to 12, maybe a puzzle, maybe a monopoly, maybe playing table tennis together, maybe going for a swim together. Works. The third purpose of play is every now and then all of us go through the emptiness which is caused by negative emotions. Some stress, some fatigue, some hurt, things which makes us believe life is not smooth, life is not as okay as we would want it to be. The third purpose of play is to help us deal with these emotions that we call as distress emotions. So 3 reasons to play. 1, that's the job because I learn so much with playing. 2, I bond when I play. And 3, it helps me to handle my emotional disturbances. Anybody who plays regularly, you will find they are able to handle the toughness of life. But for adults, play is not always easy because we have forgotten so much about what play can give to us. Busy with our work, we have ignored play. It's time to bring back play as a very, very regular feature of life. Adults seldom play with children when children have become older. As parents, it's easy for us to play with children when children are small. We have so many things that we can do as 15-minute games. But as children become older, We seem to start treating them like adults much before they become adults. See, when a younger child is disconnected, it's easy to see they are sad, they are upset, they don't know how to mask their emotions. But in adult children, so often when they are disconnected, it goes unnoticed. What to do so that children do not feel disconnected? We have discussed so far 2 points, and this is the third point. Point number one was hug the child. Point number two is play. Play as much as possible with the child. Point number three is when you are interacting with children, please turn off all technology. Make them the hero of your world. Make them the center of your universe. All the distractions away. You know, in today's world, when there are so many notifications popping up in your screen all the time, when you are a member of 100 WhatsApp groups, when you are there on Instagram and Facebook and actively shopping in Flipkart and Amazon, there are notifications which are competing for your attention. Now, either you can feel bonded with your phone, your laptop, or you can do bonding with your children. Our sincere advice, when you want to bond with your children, turn off technology. It doesn't take too much time. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. That's all you need, time with children. A little wrestling over here, a little joke about there, a little talking about their lifestyle, talking about the food they had, good time they had, what were they mad about today, who drives them mad in their life, is there any part of their life which is a little sad, what excites them, what is the glad part of their life. You know, the discussion doesn't take hours, a few minutes. I know how much you love your children. So a few minutes with your children will really help you in loving them properly and bonding with them properly. Number four, by which you can bond with your children, connect before transitions. What do I mean by this? See, adults have a lot of time to prepare themselves for transitions. For children, sometimes they don't get enough time to prepare for a transition. They're like a tree which has just got settled somewhere. And a transition is like uprooting that tree and putting it in another place. Now, an adult might say that the soil over there is much better, and I agree with you. But for children, they need this connection to go through transition properly. In this connection, before transition, we ask them about what are you going through? Is it disturbing? Is there a fear of loss? Would you miss your friends? What kind of a struggle would you go through? Is there anything I can do to help you out? Is there a way in which I can help you go through the transition easily and properly? Next, sometimes it can be a break of a relationship. Sometimes it can be change of a school. Sometimes it can be a friend leaving their society and going to some other state, some other country. For the child, this is a transition which is difficult. Connect with them deeply before a transition. The next point, make time for one-on-one time. Now, what do we mean by one-on-one time? You remember right in the beginning of this program, I spoke to you about when I asked parents, when do you bond? They say, when we go to a mall. Now, that is one-on-one with many time. We are speaking about one-on-one time, which is hardcore, face-to-face, just you and him, or just you and her. One-on-one time, which means no distraction, no people, just focused on each other. Lying down at the bed of your house, sitting in the balcony, going for a walk. Times when nobody disturbs them, nobody competes for their attention. The more you have one-on-one time with your child, the better you bond. Next point, welcome emotions and expressions. I've seen some parents all the time wanting their children to be happy. I've seen some parents all the time wanting to guide and correct their children. I've seen sometimes parents becoming aggressive when the child, let's say, does not take initiative to make new friends, when the child is not allowed the phase of transition. Child goes through something which is difficult. Tomorrow the child will be happy, but it sometimes requires some time, which is called as the transition time. In this transition time, it needs to connect, it needs to bond, it needs to talk, it needs somebody in life who's not going to judge them, who are not going to say in that time about right and wrong and good and bad and desired and undesired and expected social behavior. They need somebody who can just say, you have some feelings, right? Please express it. And I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to understand you. You just want to express it with somebody, right? Let's do it together. All your emotions are welcome. All the ideas that you have, all the fight that you have, the expressions of those thoughts, the expressions of those confusions, the child bonds with people who allow them emotions and expressions. In that time, listen and empathize. Don't guide. Just say, I understand. I understand. Don't say, I understand, but. I understand, however. I understand, still. I understand. I understand your pain. I understand your confusion. I understand why you are a little low. I understand you don't like what happened. I understand. Don't guide at that point of time. You will get your time to guide them. At the right moment, in a few hours, in a few days, you will get an opportunity to guide them. But right now, listen and empathize. Don't tell them, but be practical. Don't tell them, it happens. Don't tell them, what you have to understand is. Don't tell them, it's not a big deal. Now, all these statements show you don't understand and you don't empathize. That disturbs the bonding. When you say, I understand, that strengthens the bonding. Now, this point is a very crucial point. What I've been saying so far is about the negative thoughts and negative feelings and confusions. Now, it's about the enjoyers. So many times you have these beautiful golden moments, like what I experienced with Anvi at Tanu's house. Now, after that, I don't want to do anything for the next 10-15 minutes. So Tanu immediately said, so Naren, when you are going to Bombay next time, what we can do is, I said, Tanu darling, hold on. Allow me to savor and enjoy for at least 10 minutes the high of today. And that was playing that game of, I want 2, I want 3, I want 4, I want 5. I loved it. And I want to hold on to that. I want the whole world to stop for a few moments. I want to enjoy that moment completely. I want it to be something which I will recall with fondness every time I think about you or about your child or about this house or about children or even about TV commercials. In a hurry-burry, we don't savor these moments. We rush through these moments. As a result of which, it's like a faded advertisement that you saw somewhere which never connected with you. See, as much as children need bonding, You and me also need bonding. Children who are fed, our cups are also filled. So, my very beautiful, strong, emphatic suggestion, slow down and enjoy the moment. Now, this is one of my favorite way to bond. Bedside snuggle and chat. In the night before you go to sleep, you don't just snuggle and chat with your life partner, you also snuggle and chat with your child. You go there, you lie down next to them, you hug them, and you just chat. Hey, how was your day? That yellow color is so funny, na? Oh yeah, I never realized the moon shines into your room. Sometimes they're so weird. Do you also have such weird frames? Small chats, insignificant talk, just us time, and talking about anything under the sun. It's just that moments that you want to be with each other, which is significant, and what you talk is actually not significant, not brilliant and big thing about life. Now, these bedside snuggles and chat, they work like miracles. So have as much as you can of that. During their important events, show up. The children might say, oh, it's not such an important event, it's okay if you don't come. But if you're there, they love it. Now, in a school annual function, which would be for about 3 hours, there might be a play which is 30 minutes, in which a child might have a role of a tree or a butterfly or even a jumping frog, but show up. I've heard parents tell each other, let's say the husband telling the wife, hey, you are going now, do one thing, take the recording and I will see it in the night. Is it okay, bacha? Obviously, the child says, yeah, it's okay, because child knows Papa is hardworking, Papa has a lot of things to do, what Papa does is important. But the child also subconsciously starts thinking, well, what is true, what is also true is, I am not as important as his work is. I'm not as important as his friends are. How do you bond when you have thoughts like this? So show up. Their friends are coming home, show up. They are going for a camp, show up. Go to drop them. Go to pick them up. They have a dance performance, show up. It's their graduation day, show up. Parent teachers meeting, show up. Annual function, show up. If there's any element of presence and performance which is important to your child, show up and you'll find the bonding will be beautiful. Now, here is a very, very important point. We prepare children as a combination of brick and mortar. Brick meaning rules and mortar means connection. What do I mean by this? See, so far in the webinar, we have spoken about how bonding is required. Now, bonding is like the mortar. The mortar by itself cannot build a wall, it cannot build a home. The bricks are the rules. But for the rules to be implemented, for you to get cooperation because of rules, you need bonding. So have a set of rules which defines, refines, governs, which helps you to execute parenting. But those bricks by itself are completely meaningless if it doesn't have the mortar of connection. Can you build a wall with just bricks? Wouldn't it break? And if those bricks have mortar in between, wouldn't it remain strong and take blows and impact and bad weather? So bringing up our children, parenting our children brilliantly is like constructing a wall. where I need those rules in the form of bricks, and I also need mortar, which defines connections. With this, we kind of complete my portion of what I wanted to speak to you about how to bond with children. There are two things, and with those two things, I will leave you. One, which is of your immediate importance, is because you have watched this webinar, here is a very sweet offer for you. This is a coupon, and it's a 20% off coupon. The coupon is WOW20. If you come to our website, WowParenting.com, and if you see this webinar, why don't you go through the stuff that we have on site? Like this, there are 100 things that we have over there which will make your parenting journey beautifully easy and very, very convenient. And if you take prompt action in the next few days, you can use this coupon and get a flat 20% off. I know money is not important for you when it comes to bringing up your child, but as a gesture of affection, knowing that parenting is not an easy task, it's a challenging task, this 20% off is a small incentive that we have for you. Now, here is something with which I will complete my portion of the talking, and then I will wait for the questions that have come to get accumulated. And based on that, we will have an interaction on clearing your doubts, giving deeper insights on this topic called how to bond beautifully with our children. I will leave you with a final thought that psychologists say for every one negative interaction, we need a minimum of 5 positive interactions, which means to nullify and to neutralize one negative interaction, we need 5 positive touch points. What do I mean by this? Let me give you an example. Your child spills milk. You are angry at the child. That is one negative interaction. Now it will need 5 positive interactions: a hug, appreciation, listening, playing, one-to-one time, 5 positive interactions to neutralize that one negative. Now think about how many times we actually need to have negative interaction with the child. Every time you are correcting them, every time you are scolding them, every time you are instructing them, reminding them, if this is what they have experienced from you, these are negative interactions. Are these necessary so many times? Yes, each one of them is necessary. Will they cooperate? There it depends between the bricks how much mortar is there. There it depends on the bonding which is existing between you and your children. So let's say the bond is very strong and you criticize the child for a mistake they have done. They will understand, they will cooperate. Bond is weak. They have done a mistake and you want to correct them. They will listen, they might become aggressive, they might become obnoxious, they might rebel. And we are left wondering, what did I do wrong? If I won't correct my children, who will? If I won't guide them, who will? After all, I'm doing this for their benefit and their development. I understand these pleas and I understand your confusion. I understand your pain. Remember this equation. The necessary one negative interaction plus the necessary at least 5 positive interactions. I'm sure if you're here watching this, it means you're a very driven, passionate parent. Let's walk this journey of parenting together. Wish you all the best. Have a fantastic time in bringing up your children. May you have enough super high peaks. May you have enough Mount Everests in your journey of parenting. Love you all. All the best. Hi, darling parents. I assume that you would have enjoyed the webinar so far. Thank you so much for joining in. There are a few very, very good questions that we have received. I'm going to read those questions from my cell phone and I'm going to proceed to give the answers to those questions. The first question by a lovely lady Surbhi. She says, as a parent, how do I know for sure what's good or right for my child? And then how do I ensure the child to agrees and acts accordingly? Here lies the beauty. Sometimes when we ourselves are not very confident about our sense of right and wrong, and then if we assume that the child should cooperate no matter what, that is probably expecting a little too much. 25, 30, 40 years ago, when we were children, there was something called surrender. In today's children, we do not have something called surrender. They are having a very, very curious mind. They need to be convinced about what we are saying is actually right for them and how is it that it is going to be right for them. For example, let's say in your family, you have a ritual of if anybody comes home, we bend down and we touch their feet. And let's say the child says, but why do we do that? And how do we gain? And what is the objective? And what is the faida? And if we do not have convincing answers, it is going to be difficult for the child to cooperate. So anything that you ask the child to do, you must have convincing answers on why the child should be doing that. There is only one situation where the child will cooperate even if the child is not convinced about it, and that is when the bonding between you and your child is so strong that the child says, even if I do not understand or I do not agree with what you're saying, because our bonding is very good, I'm willing to cooperate and do what you ask me to do. This is a simple answer, and all the best in implementing this answer. Second question. There are some kids who are neither scared nor bossy, but they have a pseudo behavior. Every time trying to prove themselves, how to handle them. Um, you said it. When you say that they have a pseudo behavior, they have something to prove, it means deep inside they need that validation from the world to convince the world that they are good enough. Which means what? It means that their self-esteem is a little low. In our WowParenting website, if you go to the videos section, you will find that there is a series of videos on how do I build the self-esteem of my child. Go through those videos, take the quiz over there, go through the revision test that we have over there. If you do it, you will find the answers. Now, in all those situations where the child has to prove a point to somebody, understand you need to develop a much deeper sense of bonding with your child. How to develop that bonding? We have discussed that among the 10 pointers that you had today. Here comes the next question. Final question. How to handle kids who are too shy, or to be precise, kids who face social consciousness. No matter how much confidence we try to give in, if the child continues with the behavior, how to handle it? This question is asked by Shweta. Shweta, there are a few different approaches that we can take to bringing up our children. Children, if they are shy, according to me, it is absolutely okay. You need not motivate them to interact, to play around, to take initiatives, to be under the spotlight. If they're scared, on the other hand, then it's a matter of concern. If the children are shy, that's their nature. Not everybody can be flamboyant. Not everybody will be comfortable under spotlight. Not everybody likes to take initiative, be the first person to stretch out the hands and say, hi, I'm Naren, what's your name? This is neither an advantage nor a disadvantage. It is just the nature of a person. I know many people who are exceptionally successful, very happy, have a beautiful life, very composed, they live a holistic life, and by nature, they are very, very shy people. Now, shy people are very comfortable being with themselves. So, if they're socially a little conscious, if they do not really enjoy going out of their way and carrying a larger than life philosophy and being with 25, 30, 50 friends, if they have only two, three good friends with whom they are comfortable, I believe it is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely okay. Look at what are the strengths that your child has. If your child is focused, see how is it that you can help him focus on areas which is required for him to develop. Let's say, for example, if your child is creative, then get him certain tools by which he can enhance his creativity. If you say my child is shy, at the same time he likes to play games, find out what is it that you can do to enhance some more skills in your child, which will help him to excel in playing games. Let's say if you say my child is shy, but he loves to write, or he loves to dance, or he's exceptionally good even in putting mehndi. Find out what are the other qualities that you can nurture in your child which will be required for him to excel in any one of those fields. Let's say, for example, your child is good in writing. They love to write. They don't mind blogging. Can you introduce them to how to create videos, how to write blogs? What is the English grammar to follow when they have to write and write exceptionally well? Who are those bloggers who write and make lakhs of rupees just with their laptop and with their computer? Can you introduce them to certain online courses by which his writing finesse will increase very high? It is not necessary for him to be an extrovert. Being an introvert is absolutely okay, and it will also ensure success in the life of your child. An added advantage of being a little shy is the number of distractions in your life are absolutely minimum. The more the person is extrovert, the more number of distractions they have. The number of friends they have is huge. The invitations they have is huge. The mobile phone keeps buzzing every now and then. More and more people want his attention. A shy person does not have these distractions. The number of people who wife has attention is less. The number of invitations they get is less. The buzzing and the disturbance on the phone is less. Therefore, they have more and more time to focus on things which are important, essential, and progressive to them. So my very deep, heartfelt recommendation to you, do not bother about your child being shy. That's his nature. In spite of that, he can be or she can be super successful. Find out what are the other qualities that you can develop, which will be supplementary and complementary to his core strengths, and therefore we nudge our children towards greatness. So these are the three good questions that we had, and I've covered all the answers. In case you have further questions tomorrow, later on, you can always mail it at, my name is Naren at WowParenting.com, and I will give you answers. One more question. My kid of 4.5-year-old hesitates to join any class, maybe of swimming, drive, or drawing. Why don't I understand? Why I don't understand? Any suggestions on convincing the child? When you can participate in these sessions along with your child, that is one way by which we have seen many children getting nudged into the same skills. So my younger daughter Mehak was not really interested in swimming. She was scared of water. She used to have nightmares about drowning in water. And then, turn by turn, me and my wife would take the child to the swimming pool, and we'll say, we also want to learn swimming. How about doing it together? I'll be close to you. In case something happens to me, please save me. And you be close to me. In case something happens to you, I'll take care of you. We'll remain in the shallow part of the pool. Not a big deal. See, when there is a pressure to learn and there is a pressure to perform, and we take fun out of the equation, The child does not want to be a performer in any one more aspect of their life. Hence, they are a little scared. They are scared of being hurt. They are scared of being disappointed. They are scared of disappointing somebody else. If we can take this away and replace these with fun as an element, I'm sure your child will start cooperating. So it's not about convincing your child, but it's about changing the periphery of thinking. It is not about convincing them why swimming is good for you or why dance is good for you. It is about, come on, let's have some fun. I will have fun with you, you have fun with me. It's about the positive emotions that you bring into the activity that you brought, which will convince the child much more easily than the logical reasoning about why the child should do an activity. How to help the child believe and practice of sharing. Wow, what a beautiful point that you have brought up. I think it is one of the most essential qualities which is required. You know, as a part of certain symposium and think tanks, what has been emerging in the last couple of years in the whole world is then somebody builds top class hardware by which this webinar becomes possible. Then somebody builds the skill set to ensure that the recording and broadcasting happens beautifully well so that the webinar can happen. My role in the webinar is only one small part. My expertise in the webinar is only a small part. But when I am able to collaborate with so many people, my chances of success becomes not only huge for me, but everybody else who participates will also lead themselves to stories of glory. So the future is indeed belonging to collaborations. So sharing as a quality for your child is indeed an exceptional desire that you have. Now, how do you develop this? The more the child sees sharing as something visible around it all the time, the easier the child will be able to believe in sharing. Who does not like to share? Somebody who is scared of loss cannot share. Somebody who believes that if I give this, I won't get enough cannot share. Which means somebody who has fear will not be able to share. Now think about how can you replace fear with courage in the life of your child. Think about live examples in your family without being preachy to the child. Make things visible to the child. The more the child sees sharing happening, the easier it will be for them to share. The less they are scared of a loss because of sharing, the easier it will be for them to share. For example, 5 of you are sitting on the dining table. One sandwich is left. Sandwich has 4 pieces. You are very hungry. If you just reach out to somebody who needs that sandwich and say, I'm hungry, but have it. I anyway have 3 small pieces. It will be enough for me. You have at least this one. Not an issue whatsoever. And the child believes, oh, even when my mother, my father are hungry, they are sharing. And then when you can ensure that you are absolutely relaxed, chilled out, not complaining, in front of them, behind them, then the child understands, oh, sharing is a virtue. Sharing can lead to happiness. Sharing is a good thing to do. And when they can also find that somebody who shared got a lot of appreciation, they find, sharing means people also like me. It means they will want me. It means I have a much, much stronger bond with them. You can't convince somebody to share. You have to demonstrate to them that sharing is going to be the right thing for you to do. So all the best in sharing with your child. If a child is social and enjoys attention but does things that might not be correct to gain attention, like answering where he does not need to do or talk to elder kids in topics where he doesn't have to, what do we do? See, the thing is the same. Remember, we spoke about the child being a cup, and the cup gets emptied by a few things and the cup gets filled by a few things. The child who likes to talk, the child who likes to have the last word, the child who likes to express, the child who likes to impress is fundamentally a child who right now has an empty cup. They need validation. They need love. They need undivided one-to-one attention. what we have always seen is when we sit with a child and have a dialogue and we attempt to understand their point of view. For example, if your child is, let's say, 7 years old and you sit non-judgmentally, you ask them, so I saw that you had an opinion, you spoke about it. I also saw that the other person was not interested and it became kind of an irritating moment. I would like to know from your eyes, how do you see that experience? I mean, did you even notice that they were irritated? Or if you notice they were irritated, is it okay for you? Because you spoke, they don't respect you. Is that okay for you? I would like to understand things from your eyes. Now, when you ask the child to speak their perspective about why they are like that, it will reveal certain things to you. Now, we have done this exercise with children, where in training programs we have found that they like to interject, they like to interrupt, they like to question, they like to cross question, they like to rebel. And we have found punishing them, admonishing them, doesn't serve a purpose. What serves the purpose is, I could see that you had some things to say. You could also see a conversation was on. Would love to know from your point of view what was happening and why did you do what you do. And we have got some very interesting answers. There are times when somebody says, see, if I don't say what I have in my mind, I will forget. So I didn't want to forget. Hence, I wanted to say, saying is my job. If they don't listen, they don't accept, it's absolutely okay. Somebody else said, that person is not a nice person and he's always been interrupting me whenever I had to talk. So this was like my revenge. Somebody else said, but I had something important to say and people should give attention to me. This is what Papa does at home. He doesn't allow anybody else to talk and he can interrupt anybody when he feels like. Different kids, different response, different insights, and different remedies. But the common remedy is the child has an empty cup and that cup needs to be filled. How to fill it? Those 10 points that we discussed today. Let's take the next point, waiting to hear about core guidance about teenagers. See, everything I spoke to you about the 10 points today, everything is valid for the teenagers too. What might differ? Let's say a hug. A child who's up to 4 years old will thrive on a hug, will enjoy the hug, will come and sit on your lap because they enjoy the touch so much. For a teenager, a high five would be beautiful. But touch is what all of them are longing for. And through touch, you can fill them. Play. With a child who's 3 years old, you might have a game called Peekaboo. Where are you? Where are you? I'm not able to see you. You are here only, kya? This is Peekaboo. Now, a child who's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years might thrive under that. You attempt to do that with an adult, they might put you in a mental asylum. So what do you need to do? How about playing the game of football with them? How about basketball? How about carom? How about competing when you play a game on your Sony PlayStation? How about just a small badminton, table tennis? Saying, I just want to be with you. I want to be around you. If they're seeing a movie, how about having some conversation around, let's say they're watching Game of Thrones, and you ask them, what do you like in this? There must be something mysterious which appeals to you, which we adults are not able to see. I would like to understand your point of view. And this conversation is a play which is happening. Why don't we do that? One-to-one quality time. Time without technology. Connect with them. Be there for them. Be non-judgmental with them. And each one of these things will help your teenager to feel connected. Teenagers need respect more than anybody else does. They need respect. And when they find that they are not being respected, they can't take that. So what do you think will make them feel respected is what you need to do with them absolutely regularly. It can be listening. It can be cooking the right food for them. It can be going for a drive with them. It can be just being non-judgmentally interested in things which interest them. They need respect. When you respect them like nobody's business, watch that video on respect which is there on perfect parenting group of videos, and you'll understand what will make teenagers tick. Just hold on for a minute. Paresh, I think we have a couple of more questions, and I will just get those questions and I'm back at you. What is the importance of free play for kids? I cannot overemphasize play. The more you play with the child, the more the child bonds with you. You know what would be the right thing? In fact, what should be the most awesome thing to do? You decide to play with the child and you say, I want to play. Now you tell me whichever game appeals to you. Let the game and the rules be decided by the child and let you volunteer for your presence and the time. Free play is the most beautiful thing because there is no winner over there, there is no loser over there. There is no point to prove. You just go with the flow. You are with the wind. You are like water, takes the shape of the vessel in which it is contained. The most beautiful thing that you can do is free play. How to inculcate time management habit in children? You know, this is probably the easiest thing to do with children because the number of distractions in their life is quite less. In our website, there is a series of videos called Peak Performance, where we talk about many things which helps the child to perform very well. And one of those things which helps the child to do really well is time management. To give a very small brief, sit with the child and lay out a plan. Okay, how do you think we can get the best out of your 24 hours? And also tell the child, you need not live by 100%. If you can live by 60% of this, it's going to be beautiful. Expectation is not 100%, 60% is first class. This 60% gets better and better. The planning becomes better and better. It keeps evolving. You'll find in about 3 to 4 months' time, let's say we make weekly plans in about 3 to 4 months' time, with about 10, 12 experiments on a weekly basis, you would have reached from 60% to 80%. Now target only 80%. For heaven's sake, do not have the burden of living 100% by time management. It's not practical. There are a lot of uncertainties in life. There is a lot of mood swings in life. Priorities keep changing. Our study system is not a very fine, regulated, regimented thing. Now and then pressure is there. Suddenly free time is there. Minimum 60%, up to 80%. If you can manage that, it will be brilliant. So set a timetable in consultation with your child. Don't give them a timetable. Discuss with them. Okay, how many hours do you think we need to study? Let's say 1.5 hours. What would be the best time according to you when we can plan for studies? Understand, 3-4 weeks, it may not happen the way you want. You wanted 1 hour of focus, it might happen only 15 minutes. Fair enough, 15 minutes time is good time. Next week, let's see how to make it 25 minutes. The week after that, let's see how to make it 45 minutes. In 10 weeks, let's see how to make it 60 minutes. If you're slow and steady progressive, with the right atmosphere, with the right environment, with the right emotions, we will be successful. If you want things to get excellent in a single shot, that is going to be difficult. Having said all this, does the child see in the parents fantastic time management skills? See, what it sees in the children is what the child believes is possible. It's not what you say, it's what you do, which creates a great impact. You know, in our website, we have a video called Healthy Role Models in a series of videos called Have Bus. My suggestion, look at that video. You will get some insights. How to handle if a child shows disinterest in every activity you propose to enjoy together? It means the child is completely disconnected with you. Does it mean that the child does not want to spend time with you? Or does it mean the activities that you propose is not of interest to the child? You know, it can always be possible. Let's say, for example, I love to read books, and let's say my child is interested in outdoor sports. My son Neeraj loves to play outdoor sports. So if the activities I propose is, let's play carom. Okay, let's go for a walk. Okay, let's go for a drive. Okay, let's watch a TV serial together. Okay, let's play Monopoly. He's saying no, 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 because not a single suggestion is as per his interest. So coming back to an answer which I gave a little while ago, tell the child, I would love to be with you for 1 hour. You tell me what is the game that we can play together. You tell me what should be the rules of that game. Give the child the freedom to decide. Give them the power to decide. Engage in that activity wholeheartedly, non-judgmentally. And you will find that the child will enjoy having activities with you. No shouting, no screaming, no blaming, no wins, no losses. It is pure fun together. The objective should be pure fun together. Just keep exploring, and I'm sure you will discover some things which your child has proposed, which is also of interest to you. All the best there. I think we have completed all the questions. I think we have also covered the 1 hour which was scheduled for our session. Thank you so much for joining. Wish you an exceptional life as a parent. And in case you need us for anything, do not hesitate. Feel free to reach out to us. Download the app of WowParenting. There is a possibility of you asking questions from there also. Stay in touch, and may through your parenting, we develop an extraordinary human being who will create history for our country, if not for the whole world. Love you all. All the best. Bye.